Hi guys, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel and welcome if you're new. I'm Nika and I make book related videos, and today I'm going to be sharing with you all about the books that I read in June. So I read a total of 5 books in the month of June. I'm checking everything from my journal, so that's why I'm looking down. So the first book that I read was actually an ebook, or rather it was graphic novel kind of thing. So this was the life-changing manga of Tidying Up, a magical story to spark joy in life, work and love. So this is basically the manga version of Marie Kondo's famous work, and the reason I read this was because in June I knew I would shift and everything, so I had all of this clutter in my house. I discovered I had a lot of things, physical things that I didn't necessarily need. I had too many clothes, I had too many things and all of that, and all of the clutter was really overwhelming for me, especially because I was packing everything for the shift, right? So it all was very overwhelming for me. So one day, when I was done that day's worth of packing, I was just lying in bed and I decided just to see on Scribd what all light reads are there. So I was in the graphic novel section and I came across this manga, and I thought, why not give it a try, because I've also heard a lot about Marie Kondo's whole organization thing and everything. So I thought the manga version would be an easier version to read without overwhelming me. And you know what, best decision ever. I was then able to mentally prepare myself to let go of things that I didn't want, didn't need. If there is an example, a perfect example of the whole phrase that sometimes you meet the right book at the right time, this was this book for me, especially because I was shifting and, like I said, all of the clutter, as such it was a very helpful book. I rated it 4 out of 5 stars. Really enjoyed it, and the way it is told is also very nice, because Marie Kondo is actually helping a character who has this whole problem of hoarding, of not cleaning stuff and all of that, and she does it in a very practical manner, step by step. It's like you're not doing everything all at once, because that would of course again be too out of control, and then it would only make you feel dejected. But she helps you deal with all the things in terms of batches, like clothes and then papers and then maybe the kitchen stuff, all of that. It really helped me also mentally plan how I would do my shifting, how I would pack, things I would let go of and all of that. So this was very helpful, and yeah, I think you should definitely give it a try. Again, I'm not a big fan of non-fiction self-help books, but this one, perfect example of right book, right time. So 4 out of 5 stars. Then I ended up reading Saga Part 5 and Part 6. This is a graphic novel, an ongoing graphic novel series that that is firstly it is actually ongoing as well. I think so far we have 8 books out. I think I've just read till part 6. I've just read 5 and 6 in the month of June, and previously in April and May I think I started reading from part 1 onwards. So I have been really enjoying it. So what basically this series is about, because I cannot possibly give you a synopsis about part 5 and 6 without spoiling. Well, not necessarily spoiling, since it is kind of fantasy. There are so many characters, you wouldn't really know if I tell you about 5 and 6 per se. But basically we follow this couple, Alana and Marco. They actually are both belonging from 2 different extraterrestrial warring species. So they're at war, and then they get together and they have a child, which is a huge blasphemy in their world, because 2 enemies are getting together. They're getting together out of love, making a child and all of that. It is a huge issue in their worlds, and all of the authorities in both their worlds, they are after them just so they can hide this fact that there is a child from the entire world, because then the whole basis of the enmity, the war, it will all be for naught. So that is the story, and basically the story is narrated from the point of view of the kid Hazel, and as she's narrating the story, she's most probably either a teenager or an adult, because the voice is more mature. So she is narrating the story of how her parents met, they fell in love, they had her, and all the adventures they had in trying to protect their daughter so that the authorities don't come and capture them. Along the way, you meet a lot of characters as well, again from different species, who all have their own personal agendas, whether evil, whether good. You'll all come to know when you read it. Again, I read both of these books, part 5 and part 6, on Scribd, and I do have to say that Scribd has a pretty nice collection, and it's also very affordable. And now, since it has made it possible to make the payments for the subscription via Google Pay, it has become much more accessible. So that's how I do it, and I would definitely suggest that and recommend that you get a subscription of Scribd. This is not sponsored, by the way, because it has a good collection of audiobooks. It's got a good collection of ebooks as well, especially graphic novels, because these saga books are so costly on Amazon. If I'm able to read so many, like all of them on Scribd for what, like $2.99 or $300 around a month for the subscription, it's pretty good. So yeah, I read part 5 and part 6, and I really enjoyed them, and I rated both of them 4 out of 5 stars. So it was a must. It was a really enjoyable read, and this is a graphic novel that I would definitely recommend you. That said, this is not for kids though, because there's a lot of nudity, gore, adult scenes shown, so not for kids. Keep that in mind. So yeah. So the next book that I read was The Unwanted Marriage by Katharina Mora. Now this is book 3 in the Windsor series. Basically, each book in this series follows one of the Windsor siblings. So I've read book 1 and book 2, which were The Wrong Bride and The Temporary Wife. All of these are arranged marriage tropes and other tropes as well, but arranged marriage is a common trope in them. And I have to say that I may have enjoyed book 1 and book 2 more than The Unwanted Marriage. That said, in itself, The Unwanted Marriage was a pretty interesting story. We follow Dion and Faye. So Dion is a member of this very huge, very powerful conglomerate family, the Windsors, and each of these siblings, their marriage is always arranged by their matriarchal, their matriarch, basically the grandmother, to a woman or to a partner eventually who will basically help their business grow. So it's like political alliance kind of thing. Again, since these are all romances, of course, love blossoms and everything. So what happens is that in this book we follow Dion and Faye. They have been engaged for the longest time, but they don't even know each other, they don't communicate, they don't meet even. So their engagement is kind of in name only, and it's also hidden from everyone. So what happens is that Faye is a really famous pianist, and Dion, like I said, is a businessman. So mere about 3 months before their wedding, he sees her with another guy, and that is when his jealousy strikes, because for so long he has been evading her. So things change from then on, and they get married. There's a lot of shenanigans, a lot of drama, there's a lot of healing as well, mental and emotional healing for both of these people, and it was really interesting. But the third act conflict that happened, I kind of have mixed feelings about that, because it was a bit weird, and I felt the guy reacted unnecessarily. It was conflict just for the sake of conflict, didn't really make a lot of sense. So that was that. Again, this series has a happily ever after ending. There's no cheating. I would like to give this disclaimer because I personally always check if the romance book is an HEA, that is happily ever after. So I'm extending you the same courtesy. I do not like books where one of the character dies, it's not a happy ending, and there is cheating. These two are the main things that I always avoid in romance books that I'm reading. So that was that, and this was a pretty interesting read, but again, like I said, the third act conflict was something that came out of nowhere and kind of unnecessary. It was there just for the sake of it. Again, this was overall an interesting read, and this is a series which I am personally going to continue reading. I've read book 1, book 2, like I said, this is book 3. I'm going to read the rest of the series. I think we've got 3 more books maybe. Let me check once. We don't have the details yet, but 3 books are out, and I think 3 more are left. There are a total of 5 or 6 siblings, or maybe 7, 6 maybe. So yeah, we've got a few more books left, and I am going to read those as well. So you can definitely check out the series and make your impressions for yourself. Overall, I rated this one a 4 out of 5 stars. The last book that I read in June was one of the most amazing books that I've ever read, and also definitely my best read of June, and that is If We Were Villains. As you can see, I've done my bit of annotating. It was a pretty good book, very good book actually. So basically, If We Were Villains, in this book, the story, this is a dark academia, and it is told in flashbacks basically. So what happens is that in the beginning we see that this guy Oliver, he is in jail, and the detective who basically put him in jail is asking him like what happened, what really happened that day, because I feel like there's an element missing and you all were actors and everything, so tell me. So that is how the premise begins. The basic story is that Oliver and these other people, they are all students at this art school, and they are all doing learning drama, Shakespeare basically, and it is a very exclusive kind of elitist environment, of course, which comes with all dark academia. And Oliver is the character, again, the outsider sort of, who is not as rich as the others, who's not as good as the others, who's got more self-doubts, all of that. This is one archetypal character who is always present in all dark academia. So Oliver is that, and that is how he finally reveals the story to the detective as well as to us. The reason he reveals the story in the first place is because the detective is retiring. So I mean, if the truth comes out now, it's not an issue. So basically, he tells the story of how they all began their life in this amazing art school, and the ways their bonds were formed. There's also a lot of Shakespeare references. Not references, there are a lot of Shakespeare dialogues in this book, because of course they're all in drama, so all of that. And again, all of these characters are very archetypal in the roles they play, as well as how it all evolves into their own personal lives. We've got the good guy, we've got the bad guy, we've got the ingenue, we've got the femme fatale, we've got the sidekick, side character, supporter, all of that. We've got the powerful egotistical man as well. So all of that, these archetypes are present in their personal lives as well, and this juxtaposition of how they maintain that sort of objectivity, or you could also call subjectivity, in the characters they are playing as thespians, and how it is all seeping into their personal lives, into their personal deliberations, interactions with each other. That is really interesting. Like I said, I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars because it was so good, and the way the suspense is built throughout until the revelation at the end, it's very good. There's also romance in this book, there's also jealousy, there's envy, same thing. There's happiness, there's a lot of sadness, there's a lot of substance abuse as well, all of that. So really interesting. I would actually like to share the synopsis with you from back here, because I think it really explains the whole story very well. Oliver Marks has just served 10 years for a murder he may or may not have committed. On the day of his release, he is greeted by the detective who put him in prison. Detective Colborne is retiring, and he wants to know what really happened a decade before. As a young actor at an elite conservatory, Oliver noticed that his talented classmates seemed to play the same characters on stage and off, villain, hero, temptress, though he was always a supporting role. But when the teachers changed the casting, a good-natured rivalry turns ugly and the plays spill dangerously over into real life. When tragedy strikes, one of the 7 friends is found dead. The rest face their greatest acting challenge yet, convincing the police and themselves that they are blameless. So who is dead? Who is the one character who dies? Even that fact we are not informed of, until the end. Not until the end, but like maybe 50-60% we don't know even who died. So that is a really interesting take. Again, I think this is kind of the way that this is told in reverse story is kind of like a secret history, but in secret history we know who died in the very beginning. In this book we know someone died, but we don't know who died, but the rest of the formula is pretty much the same. So again, I dare say I enjoy this book more than the secret history, but I think both books are the trinity of one, the two main books in dark academia. So again, I would recommend this as well. If you enjoyed The Secret History, you'll definitely enjoy this one as well, and vice versa. So yeah, this is a book that I rated 5 out of 5 stars. So that's it, guys. Those are all the 5 books that I read in June. I had a really fun time reading these books. I rated 4 books 4 stars and 1 book 5 star. So overall, it was a pretty good reading month, and I hope you enjoyed getting to know about these books and what I thought about them. I would definitely recommend all of them actually to you, because all of them were very, very good books. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you again in another video very, very soon. Until then, take care, peace out, and I'll see you soon. Bye.